Okay, so I haven't made a video in a while, but there's something that has gotten a capture of my eye a little bit. There's been discussion of a derecho going across the Midwest, and this is actually pretty accurate because literally wind gusts up to 122 miles per hour with this complex in the upper Midwest clearly happened. And if we do go back to my forecast I put out, I believe it was in March. So let's just go back to the little forecast I put out right over here of my concerns of derechos. This was definitely, I put this up in March. Now, this whole red area was a huge concern for derechos threat. And it's funny because all the areas shaded in red in the upper Midwest got hit by this thing. I wasn't predicting that on this date and this time that this thing was going to form. I was just saying over time in the summer, as we go from spring to summer, especially in the months of June, that this would be a concern. And that is clearly the truth over here. Now, if we go back and just look and see exactly where this complex is, I'm kind of cutting corners here because I'm not trying to make the video too long. But a very dangerous complex is definitely going to be coming to the East Coast. Now the question in jury is whether or not it holds an intensity level, at least partially, of what was held in the upper Midwest. That is a huge question here. And this is basically what was left of the complex. Now, if we look at it, it doesn't really look like much. It literally shows out its entire amount of energy. But if you do look, this complex is very widespread. So if it regenerates anywhere, it can cover any area to hit on this side over here. So if we go over to the NAM model, watch. This is the 4-kilometer NAM model, and this is a little bit of an older run. We gotta wait for the newer run, but I'm just gonna base off this for now. The complex falls apart, which it did over here, but watch what happens. Once we get to northeast Pennsylvania and right into New Jersey, boom. North Jersey takes the hit of this. This is a pretty intense complex since the DBZ readings are up to 60 in northwestern Connecticut. This would not hold winds up to 100 miles per hour, but winds potentially of 60, 70 plus, if this is right, is definitely possible. Now, I have not looked at these yet, but let's see what the Warfare ARW has to say. There's just a little look over of, the potential possibility of this complex. And as you can see with the ARW, you get this result. So you do have a line a little bit trying to reform and refocus more down the latter part of the hours, but it's a definitely different outcome. I'm going to have to agree with this more than what the NAM is doing because I've been following the NAM and it hasn't been very accurate. Meanwhile, the NMM model is definitely running. So what you can look forward to is that going forward, that the threat of more powerful thunderstorms definitely exists. The Northeast does have to look out for a chance of severe weather tomorrow. If we do get high enough Cape values, then the NAM model will be correct. But I don't know if it is. Weather is really all about probability, and there's really no solitude answer. But going forward into the months of July and August, the Northeast is going to get very active. That's all I can say.